So, last week there were obviously the big anti-Trump protesters. However, what people may not have known was that there were pro-Trump protests. Indeed, there was even a Free Tommy Robinson protest. And as usual, there was violence. Because there's always violence at these things. This, as I keep on saying to people, this is not a bug. This is a feature of these people, and you want a perfect summation of this, because this article sums up what happened. As demonstrators left a rally in support of jailed EDL founder Tommy Robinson, they blockaded a bus in Trafalgar Square for almost 30 minutes, and they rattled and pinned "Britain Loves Trump" posters to her windscreen. So this was someone who she was basically she was a Muslim. She was female. She's wearing a headscarf. By the way, I did a video about the headscarf ban, and I have confirmed it. They want to do a full headscarf ban, not just the face veil covering. This is what they want, and this is what I've told people. This is why you do not join UKIP and these far-right idiots in these protests, even if you agree with them on issue of freedom of speech. So anyway, it continues. Yet surrounded by dozens of protesters, the driver reacted almost stereotypical Britishness, and basically just goes, she didn't react. She just waited, even though they were heckling her and jibing at her. So it didn't actually stop until the police turned up and cleared the road. However, this is where it gets interesting. So the demonstrators themselves were not so calm. They threatened to fight amongst themselves as some demanded the bus be let through, while others chanted they would not be moved. One, Perry Fitzpatrick from Kent, told The Independent, "Today is a peaceful protest about freedom of speech. Now a handful of idiots will give us a bad name. It looks fucking terrible." Yeah. Sorry, Perry, but you do not ally with these idiots. Because, as I've said before, this is what they want. This is the big thing about UKIP and freedom of speech. It's not that they are being suppressed in any way, shape or form. It's that they come out and they say the most racist things, and then when they are challenged and criticised, not only just on their racism, but the thing that their party wants to do. Remember, this is a party that an MP that was standing for an election for a UKIP seat got the police involved for somebody who posted a meme about UKIP. And yet Count Dankula is a member of this party? That doesn't make any sense at all. I feel sorry for Perry. In fact, I want to reach out to Perry Fitzpatrick. I would love to talk to you. Let's have an actual discussion about why you thought it was necessary to be there, and about free speech in this country. I would love to talk to you. Let's have this open and honest debate, Perry. I don't know if it will actually ever happen, but who knows, maybe. But I'm sorry, Perry. This isn't a minority incident. Look at all the big things that have happened in the past. You had the last big Free Tommy rally that happened. They ended up throwing stuff at the police and causing violence to the police. You had the Freedom of Speech Day that they held, where they had all these talks, and yet you had a guy who was invited to speak, denied by Tommy Robinson, then surrounded by his supporters, and then they started to punch and kick him and assault him. This is not a bug. This is a feature of these far-right people who you have allied yourself with on this topic. You do not ally yourself with these people. Have your own rally, but do not associate with these people, because they are not interested in freedom of speech. What they want is freedom to be able to call people, particularly like this Muslim girl. They want to berate and deride her and call her derogatory things, and then not suffer the consequences for being called out for being a racist. That is what free speech means to them. And until people get this through their heads, they will, like poor Perry here, will support these rallies thinking that he's going to support free speech, when he's not. He's supporting a far-right version of free speech, which is basically condemns, again, take the headscarf ban. That was that woman's individual right to be able to wear that. That is her freedom of expression. And yet, this far-right party and UKIP, I hope Perry isn't a member of UKIP, because if he is then supporting a party that wants to marginalise a single group in this country for their own individualistic freedom of expression of, being part of their religion, which is their right to do. This country protects that right. And yet Perry here was at a rally supporting free speech of people who want to take that right away from her. So, anyway, this article continues. Another, who declined to give his name, had the opposing view. "We want our country back," he demanded. When asked how stopping a double-decker from heading down Cockpur Street might achieve that, he found himself unable to provide specifics. In fact, this was written throughout. This was a pattern throughout the afternoon's rally. In conversation with demonstrators repeatedly, they said they wanted to defend their freedom of speech and Western democracy. "Once that fails, my brother and everything else comes crashing down," Harry from London told me in McDonald's. Yet, when we engaged on what that exactly meant, there was a similar lack of clarity. It was a sunny day after all, and many were several pints in. One chap held a banner proclaiming that Tommy was the only man in Britain brave enough to expose Muslim grooming gangs. This is what I've said before. He has never, ever once exposed a Muslim grooming gang. And again, as this article continues to say here, "So what about Andrew Norfolk?" I asked, the Times journalist who exposed the Rotherham child sex scandal. A blank look. "Who's that then, mate?" came the reply. The demonstration itself, held in Whitehall and organised by the Middle East Forum, a right-wing American think tank, which is all you need to know about this, was pretty much what you'd expect: all anti-immigration chants and pro-Trump rhetoric. An inflatable pig with a mask of London's Mayor Sadiq Khan was attached to it and passed around 3,000 present. So they're not attacking the Mayor of London for his policies, they're attacking him for his religion. Which says everything you need to know about this protest. And I'm sorry, Perry, that wasn't, as I said, this wasn't a bug, this was pretty much a feature. And not just this protest, of all these right-wing idiots' protests. One banner labelled Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel. Sorry, it doesn't make it clear. It just says Merk dotted line. So I don't know. Maybe Merk bitch. I don't know. Whatever. Like I say, it's censored. So the new here we go. So the new UKIP leader Gerard Batten got arguably the biggest cheer of the day. Mohammed, he asserted, was a paedophile. Not all of his speech was so well received, however. A distinct lack of applause followed when he compared Robinson's law-breaking, he was jailed for 13 months after admitting contempt of court, to that of the suffragettes, Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela. The crowd appeared unsure whether or not these counted as compliments. "So whose side would you rather be on?" presented Mr. Batten grimly. "Robin Hood or the Sheriff of Nottingham?" People were uncertain of the right answer. "Weren't they both English anyway?" I heard one guy say. So Geert Wilders, as is his considerable rhetoric gift, was less ambiguous. The anti-immigration Dutch politician who appeared via pre-recorded video message kept his message simple. "The enemy is Islam," he said. "We are losing our country, our culture, our identity. Our countries are no longer safe, and now we are jailing those who protest. Who do they think we are? I tell them, Tommy's our band of brothers. Robinson," he added, "should not be in prison. On the contrary, he should be the Prime Minister." "Around the corner is number 10 Downing Street," he declared. "And who lives there? Theresa May. Who deserves to live there? Tommy Robinson." He added, "We will never abandon you. We will not rest until you are a free man." He broke the law, and knowingly broke the law, and then he admitted in court he was guilty. The level of stupidity who support Robinson in this, and we've gone over this. We went through the secret barrister's report on this, and I'm sorry, but there's no way you can swing it. He broke the law, and he admitted to breaking the law. There's no two ways you can swing it. So others in the crowd were less inclined to speak. "Fake news," one middle-aged woman declared when I introduced myself as a reporter. The rally itself was well enough attended. An earlier march failed to really materialise. Only 100 or so people turned up in Temple Place near the embankment to stride onto Whitehall in a planned show of right-wing force. The reason for the small numbers became clear once we arrived at the final destination. A vast number of protests had appeared and decided to spend the early afternoon outside the Lord of the Moon on the Mall, a pub in Whitehall, soaking up the good weather and indulging in the occasional chant. It was the same place many of them would end up when the speeches and the bus blockade were finally over. Defending one's country, even if it's from threats that many would consider imaginary, seems very thirsty work. So, that's, yeah. I feel sorry for Perry, because I feel it's people like him who have been conned into joining this movement, and I would genuinely love to have a talk with Perry from Kent. I don't know, maybe, but there you have it. This is, as I've said before, this isn't really a free speech rally. It was basically, we want to be able to say racist things and not be criticised for it, which is generally what a lot of these racist people go on and talk about when they talk about free speech. But there you go. As I said before, this is not a bug, this is a feature of these protests. So I can't understand why a lot of people would willingly sit there and say, I support free speech, but I don't support anything else, and yet they would go to this rally and expect anything less.